I think TSM right now is a very inconsistent team. Like, they can be very good sometimes, and at other times they can lose to bottom tier teams.
Renegades take down TSM.
That game was a mess for TSM.
TSM are a playoff team, and that doesn't look good.
I don't really care about playing against Immortals. I think they are pretty amazing for their record, but not as good as people think.
Very rarely have we seen this type of early lead against Immortals.
They are hesitating a lot to make plays, and then they're making pretty much a lot of mistakes, like random mistakes.
I'm super confident in my ability and my team's ability. Even though our records don't really show it, I think a match would be quite close.
Well, it's not really a big match for us because we already got first seed, but it might be for them because they want to get a seed they really want. But we're just going to beat them.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Week 9 of the North American LCS. We're headed into the last weekend of the regular season, and fans have packed the Battle Arena to see which teams will be fighting for honor and glory in the upcoming postseason. You saw there a slew of Renegades fans, but all of the fans are pumped up and bringing their hype for their favorite teams today. First up, it's Team Impulse, who you see here, talking a little bit of strategy before they face off against Renegades, who are looking to make a late season climb out of last place. We'll see if they can do that with our first game today. Thank you very much for watching with us. I'm James Patterson, and we have Isaac Azael Cummings-Bentley from the playtest team to help us break down the new patch, along with regulars Joshua Jat-Leesman and Aiden Zyrene Moon.
Not sure if being called a regular is a compliment or an insult.
I'm not really sure either. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, do you want to just be a regular on a show? Yes, but a regular human being.
Internet TV show, I think, is pretty close.
There you go.
Shouldn't ask questions if you don't know the answer.
So Zyrene will take it as a compliment. Jat's still living in this nebulous space of whether or not we're on good terms. Anyway, before we jump into our discussions, let's take a look at the standings and see where all the teams are positioned. In first place, it's Immortals with Cloud9 and CLG tied for second place. Then we have TSM in fourth, with Energy Esports and Liquid tied in fifth to round out the current playoff picture. Echo Fox is hot on their heels, though, in seventh place, and is followed by Team Impulse in eighth, Team Dignitas in ninth, and Renegades in 10th. Now, the top four teams have already secured their playoff berths, but there is still a lot on the line for the rest of the league coming into this weekend. A first-round playoff bye is still on the table, with Counterlogic Gaming and Cloud9 tied for second place behind Immortals. So let's start there.
I think CLG, they have a game that they could lose against Energy, since Energy had that fantastic game with Moon last week, and they're coming off of a 1-1 CLGR. And they actually played Yasuo top, and it was something where they're trying to find a new split pusher, and that's what concerns me about CLG coming into playoffs, is this is a team that every time they've come to playoffs, except for last year, they've overthought their strategy and tried to swap to something else.
Yeah, and they did have a rough tournament when they went to Poland for IM Katowice. As soon as they came back, they lost a game to Team Liquid. I think that had a little bit to do with just not having that much practice on the current patch. We mentioned they're like, oh yeah, we think Yasuo beats Nautilus in lane. We didn't even think about the rest of the game, and they played that in LCS.
Yeah.
Like, they just picked it in an LCS game, so that was a mistake. I think COG's best action forward is if they just continue to do what they've been doing, but if the meta shifts too far, then it's going to really bite them.
Now, on the other side of things, for that playoff picture, Cloud9 also vying for the first round bye. They've got Team Liquid and Echo Fox left to play this weekend. Thoughts there?
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. I mean, I think Team Liquid, there are always these guys that are so confident about themselves, right? And this is like one last chance, finally prove you guys do compete with the very best teams going in. And C9 is going to be in tough.
Yeah, C9, Jensen walking away with MVP last week for good reason. He's been playing this Varus, and he's been dominating on it. And once again, he's looking like he's in the running for MVP of the entire split because he has stepped up on this squad. They came back last week from deficits, I believe, in both of their games for a 2-0 victory.
Well, if all things go to chalk, both of these teams should win both of their games this weekend, which would make for a pretty sweet tiebreaker there for that first round bye. So fingers crossed if you want to see more League of Legends. Now, we've been tracking the progress of Echo Fox and their fight for a playoff spot, but after last week's results, they could be forced out before they even play today.
Yeah, it's going to be really dependent on how the other teams do, but Echo Fox can't lose sight of their ultimate goal. They knew the spring split was going to be a practice split, and they really expected to hit their stride in summer. Even if they get eliminated from the playoff picture, they still control their own destiny in regards to the 7th seed and safety and therefore qualification for the summer split. And I think really that's what they should be going for.
Yeah, no doubt Cloud9 will be a tough opponent, but as you mentioned, they're in control of their own fates here, rebuilding season, considering the fact that they didn't have their full roster the entire split. If they can end up in 7th, that's probably something they would be happy with, without a doubt. Now, of course, let's move on to Renegades, who aren't going to be able to make it to the playoffs, but they're creating quite a stir on the bottom part of the bracket in that 8th, 9th, 10th race.
Yeah, I've got to say they look a lot better with this new roster. I think there's always that kind of honeymoon stage when you get a new swap in there. Seraph has been looking great in the top lane, and this will be something to build some momentum towards that, keeping their spot.
Yeah, and I love this about Renegades because Seraph is basically a secondary shot caller for Crumbs, takes a little bit off his shoulders. He's also another threat, so that helps Freeze out, and so does Ninja. Ninja can play a supportive role as well as an assassination engager. So this squad looks like it's really rounded out, and Seraph thinks they're top 2, possibly. But
confident man. He's a confident fellow.
They can still get 8th place and the highest seed that they can coming into promotion, and that's what they're gunning for right now.
I mean, that's the attitude you want of the players on a new roster, right? If you're looking to make changes and make improvements, you want people thinking that you can shoot for the stars. Now, teams, of course, this week will be playing on patch 6.5, so let's explore some of the changes that might be hitting competitive play today. I want to start with changes to champions that we have already seen. So Soraka and Nautilus.
Yeah, Soraka got some changes to the heal. It's not as effective, and the Q got shifted around in terms of power. It slows basically in the entire area, and it gives her a heal over time that then amplifies her heal. So she's more kind of, you have to actually land the Q in the middle of combat, and that's how part of her pattern now. I've seen some people max Q, not sold on it completely just yet, but Adrian has been playing it, Conquan has been playing it. Maybe we'll see it this week because it's immediately enabled.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see how it does shake out because with the changes, it's a lot more emphasis on your Q. It's higher risk, higher reward kind of thing. You can't just sit in the back, use your Ws. Without hitting the Q first, your W is extremely ineffective. But if you are able to consistently hit those Qs, it's really big.
Yeah, I'm curious as well to see how Nautilus plays out because his nerfs were somewhat small, yet still very important. I think on the previous patch, there was a lot of top lane tank trading you could do with Poppy and Nautilus, or you could just combo them both on your team. But now I feel like Poppy is kind of S tier, and then Nautilus is knocked below into the world with Trundle. And that will either make Poppy a permaban or a very early pick, and it definitely knocks Nautilus down where you don't even need to pick him every game, I don't think. With the
international play has been an example of that already this past week. Now let's move into the jungle and some champions that we haven't seen but could possibly with the changes that they received. J4, Sejuani specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see some Assassin J4, some DPS J4, because it's the big play potential with Cataclysm, right? If you can catch a couple carries in the Cataclysm, it does damage to everyone who's in that circle now. You could potentially end the game. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think because of the shield cooldown on the W, he has a much safer jungle clear, but I still feel like he wouldn't be a fast enough jungler to compete with Nidalee, or if Nidalee's banned, even Kindred. But if we do see him, I think we would probably see him in the mid lane against an Azir matchup, because Azir is coming back as well. I think the burst potential from Jarvan combined with any damage can just kill Azir, and Azir is a champion who doesn't like building Zhonya's Hourglass either, which is traditionally why Zed's pretty good against him. So I think Jarvan can fit a similar mold.
Yeah, instead of jumping onto Sejuani immediately, I want to jump on that Azir really quickly, because he is like 80% prevalence right now. He saw 13 picks on 6.5 internationally so far. So Azir in the mid lane is now the premier late game, mid game wave clear type champion, and everybody's going back to him, even though there was only bug fixes really. There weren't any big buffs to him.
On this patch, he is the second most pick banned mid laner to Corki, which is,
well, there you have it.
I mean, little usability.
Well, if you're telling me that's the case study or the scenario that needs to present itself for a Jarvan mid lane game, then I'm all for it. I would love to see that brought out. Now, Zyrene, bring me in on the Sejuani and what happened there.
Sejuani basically got the W feels a lot better. It's not as clunky, and then the permafrost, the E, which is sometimes maxed second or last, has a higher base damage on the first rank of it. So you don't have to really invest in it too much. Helps her early clear, helps her early game, so she has a little bit more damage for that trading against junglers. So I honestly think that she's a pretty good jungler right now. We may see her, and I want to see engages come out because there's so many compositions like Cloud9 are playing with Trundle for disengage, with Varus. So having a Sejuani on your team would be very beneficial.
Yeah, and we're short on memes, so when Xmithy plays Sejuani again, like as soon as something goes wrong, we have a new one.
Are we short on, when we're short on memes, you rely on Jat to come up with something.
Of course.
The body never is it intentional.
It really is the darkest timeline.
If you're looking for memes, you do not get them.
Of course, all of this jungle talk is if Nidalee's not on the table, right? Because she is by far and away still the largely prioritized jungle. Well, before we get into game, and with the stakes fresh in our minds, let's remind everyone what the spring split is all about. Championship points. Now remember, playoff teams earn points at 90, 70, 50, 30, and 10 and 10 for finishing in somewhere in the playoffs. But of course, the distribution of these champion points are the same as last season. The road to getting them is a little different. After the quarterfinal rounds, dynamic seeding will be in effect, which guarantees that Immortals will play the lowest remaining seed, regardless of how the previous rounds play out. So again, that just puts emphasis on finishing as high as you possibly can in the regular season so as to avoid facing that top seed.
Yes, similar system actually the NFL uses exactly the same dynamic seeding in a 16 playoff. So I think it works pretty well. I'm looking forward to seeing it in the LCS.
All right, well, there we have it. There's still 2 days of play left for teams to shake up the standings. So let's see what we have in store today. First up, Team Impulse will be taking on Renegades, followed by Counter Logic Gaming and Energy Esports. Later in the day, Team Dignitas is up against Liquid, and Cloud9 will face off against Echo Fox in our last game of the day. But make sure you're around for Game 3 and our match of the week when Immortals go head-to-head with TSM. Now, both these teams already secured playoff positioning, but have a lot to prove. Immortals, we've talked about them, some minor mistakes and cracks showing in the armor. And for TSM, it's just been a roller coaster of a season.
Yeah, I think TSM is much more on kind of a bit of a downtrend. Immortals were nitpicking, but I mean, they're like 15-1, right?
Yeah,
like, they're doing pretty well.
That's awful.
Why are we so hard on a 15-1 team? It's like,
They didn't win in 25 minutes.
What are they doing?
98% on a test. It's like, no.
Right.
I do think this is an interesting game only because Immortals has a real chance to show off and really kind of ruin TSM's day/week. Because if they beat TSM and TSM has an 0-2 week, they can drop all the way as low as 6th seed.
Right.
Whereas Immortals also have a chance to play a lot of the new champions. Like we were talking about, new Soraka, Hecarim was buffed in the last patch. If we're going to see a mid lane Jarvan, I think all of those things could potentially happen from Immortals side against
Get
TSM.
that Urgot in there.
I would love
Fear on Swamp.
But when I think about Immortals in the way that they like to play, so they're going to hide some things for playoffs, right? Don't show your hand, don't give too much away. But Immortals are always playing to win, even when they're playing lower teams. They talk about how they don't play to the level of their opponent. They want to play their game. So if Immortals can put their money where their mouth is, this is going to be a game where they try as hard as they can without trying to give up strategies later on.
All right, well, there you have it. We've talked about the teams, but we want you to talk about the players. For our social media question of the day, we want to know which player will have the most impact going into playoffs and why. Tweet your thoughts at LOL Esports, and we'll check back with some of your responses later in the show. That's going to do it for us here on the desk, so let's check in with the casters to get us into Game 1.
Thank you very much, Dash. We are here to cast Game 1. I'm David Victorelli. Alongside me, King of the Jungle, Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler. What is... I'm getting ready. You're just pumping up. Here we go. Coming up, we've got our first game of the day. It's Team Impulse versus Renegades. Both these teams are out of the playoffs, sadly. However, this game is still super important for both these squads. Avoiding the promotion tournament on the Impulse's side is a possibility. Getting a better seed in it, certainly possible for Renegades here.
Yeah, so Impulse definitely need to bring their A game. Because even though they are higher than Renegades currently in the standings, they only have 2 wins with their current roster. But a win here would mean that a tie for 7th place would come about, which does keep Team Impulse out of the promotion tournament until Echo Fox wins a game.
And meanwhile, you talk about Renegades a little bit. Now, they cannot make 7th. They will be in the promo relegation tournament.
Yes.
However, right now, sitting in 10th, they can go higher. They can reach as high as 8th. They can take over Impulse's spot. And that's certainly a possibility. And step 1 in getting up in that sort of tier list of bottom teams is bringing Seraph onto that top lane, Ninja in the mid lane, and they're looking a lot better because of that.
Yeah, Seraph in particular here has been a huge boon for Renegades. In the 4 games that he has played with the team, their KDA has more than doubled from 1.8 to 4, and their average gold difference at 15 minutes went from a deficit of 847 to a lead of 2,747. So big difference there, especially in the early game when they brought in Seraph.
Yeah, it's been a huge deal sort of with this new roster here. So we're going to see if the strength of this new Renegades roster will continue to serve them moving forward, because it's absolutely a possibility. But right now, we're going to hear from Crumbs on his continued goals for this team.
Understanding that we're going into the relegation tournament, our goals, and even just my own personal goals, is just to become more patient with our gameplay and as a person as well. So using things in my life to become a more patient person. Like, there's a variety of activities that one can do that really emphasize that in you. I want to use that to become a patient player and understanding the windows in the game that you have to take to win. And that's ultimately what I think will make me a much better player, and it'll also help everybody else in the team in really getting there and being able to win or not get relegated.
And I'm curious to see how much that patience will pay off with this team, because even though their early game has gotten even better. They were always sort of a pretty strong early game team. They'd get leads, but then they would catastrophically lose that in the mid game.
Yeah, exactly. Patience in the very late game sometimes can not be a good thing, as we've seen so many teams come back from huge deficits. It's really about taking that early lead and driving it home to the Nexus.
Right.
Because the only goal that really matters, Freak, is the 25 that you get on your way to the 50 from the Nexus. Damn it.
It's okay.
It's 50.
Okay.
I've never killed a Nexus.
Yeah, clearly, I've gotten a lot of them. Either way, guys, we're going to check out starting lineups. On the blue side, Team Impulse for this one, hoping to hold on to 8th, maybe get 7th. Fang in the top lane, Prox in the jungle, Pyrian in mid, Mash at 80 carry, Gate on support, and their coach, Jason.
And on the red side, it's Renegades. Up top is Seraph. In the jungle, Crumbs. Mid, Ninja. 80 carry, Freeze. Support, Hakuho. And Coach Hermes up on stage with them.
All right, this is going to be a fun one. I'm hoping it actually is 50, by the way, Kobe. I'm almost certain it is.
I think it is 50. Dude.
Yeah, okay.
I forgot.
Yeah. Actually, here's
you
the
got me.
Did you know, actually, it is possible as a melee champion to last at the Nexus and recall? You get a one-frame window to do that before the game locks you out of commands.
I did not.
It's pretty easy as a range champion, but every single time I play Caster or something.
I'm always concentrating on fountain diving.
Okay.
I almost never go for the picture at the end.
I actually basically never fountain dive.
Okay.
I'm actually just not that kind of player. Instead, I go for the swag recall.
Oh.
And there's actually ways you can break the camera off too. Like the recall will zoom you back out, so you're just looking at yourself as you win the game.
Yeah.
Lots of fun things to do with winning the game. And that's going to be the goal for both these teams here. Impulse sitting in 8th, Renegades sitting in 10th. We are here for Week 9, the last week of regular season games here. The spring split in North America today and tomorrow. We will find out the standings. Unless there are tons of tiebreakers, then we'll find out next week what the final standings are. You're seeing the Graves removed away from Seraph, Lissandra off the table from Ninja and Seraph as well. And meanwhile, typical red side bans for Renegades. It's always interesting seeing how many power picks they try to remove, because you can always bargain one for more.
Yeah, the thing is also, since we're on 6.5 and Sivir is now extremely powerful, wondering if we will see her show her face?
I think she's been that good since 6.4 as well. So second week in a row, I want to see how much more important Sivir becomes for these teams if they learn new tactics around the champion, or if they decide she's actually not worth it after all. Gragas off the field for Crumbs, which is interesting because normally Gragas is the go-to after Nidalee. Oftentimes blue sides will let you pick Nidalee, take Gragas' pick 1, and then move on from there. Now, Jat was saying the Poppy might be the champion to look at.
Well, instead of just looking at it in general terms, I think that's just targeted at Crumbs because he has had a lot of recent success on Gragas.
Of course.
So taking that away. Whereas Proxen probably wants to first pick Elise or early round pick Elise. I don't think it actually is first pick.
I think you can't first pick Elise here. I think with Poppy on the table and being so important for Fang, for Impulse, I think he's just been playing tanks pretty much exclusively, and it's been somewhat working for them.
Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest showing since he's joined the LCS. So maybe keeping him on one of those solid tanks would be the ideal way to go.
I think the hover is Corki, though, instead, so hoping for a flex pick between Pyrian and Mash. As time ticks down, they're really discussing what they really want here, and I like that they are taking their time, making sure that they understand what they're getting, what's going to take, what's going to be taken for Renegades first round red side, what they're going to get on the backswing, and sort of planning that out properly, making sure the matchups are all going to pay out for you is going to make sense.
Yeah, I mean, Corki's just so good all around as a first pick for all the reasons, flex picking, working into any sort of composition. The other two main mid laners that we've been seeing, not only Azir, who's been in almost every game internationally that we've seen this week, but also Lissandra, especially teleport Lissandra from the mid lane, has had a pretty huge impact so far this week internationally. See if Renegades actually want to try and go with a double TP composition, work that into their game, because Renegades, their recent success has been a large part due to constant shoving of lanes and constant 1-3-1, a lot of pressure across the map from very early stages, and double teleports, taking a teleport from the mid lane would also help with that. Lulu's one, that can also do it, also a flexible pick, and they steal away that Elise that we were looking at. So Impulse maybe hoping for that second round steal away, but not going to be there. So maybe we'll just go with, I was going to say Rek'Sai, but Lee Sin, the hover.
Well, he's got all the time in the world to pick the jungler he actually wants to play here. There's still more power picks left on the field. Braum, I think, is one of them. Sivir, in my mind, is the other. champions that I think are kind of best in class of what's remaining right now in those roles. But Impulse may just want to wait on their AD carry pick to not show that Corki is definitely going mid, so there's factors that sort of limit your willingness to pick an AD carry here, even if it would be a strong pick otherwise. So looks like Jungler will be on the table, and of course Impulse also waiting to see where Renegades are sending Lulu before they pick their own top laner. So if you start considering counter picks, Impulse have to go support Jungler here, if that is their goal after all. Which means Braum plus what looks like Lee Sin for Braum.
Yeah, plus I think they're fine with either Lucian or Sivir coming across, because Lucian also pairs really well with Braum.
True.
And Renegades already do have Lulu, so you know pretty much whatever they get is going to turn into buff an AD carry late game. And actually, the new Sivir, since she now can crit late game, is a beast with Lulu as well. Even though we don't usually consider it being a good Lulu combination, now she's insane later in the game. And, you know, more speed upon speed.
Freeze hovering Draven, by the way, also a great matchup into Sivir. Draven can get run down, but you can't spell shield spinning axes.
Yeah.
In 4 autos.
Usually when he hovers Draven, I'm pretty sure it's just the freeze love situation with Draven. And just going to be a hover. But there is the Sivir.
All right.
And they will have the rush down here for Trundle on the front line as well. That means, you know, whatever tank they do choose for Fang, if they try and get a tank for him in the top lane, you shred right through him.
And Renegades, honestly, I love this draft because you've only got 2 anchored picks here. The Trundle can go top or support, Lulu can go top or mid here. So they can still, with their very last pick, ensure some good matchups. Trundle support, actually pretty good in a Braum support in the first place. So really just a very well-rounded pick phase where
and honestly,
matchups are good.
Honestly, you should expect that from Red Side. Nowadays, it's so easy to do with the number of flex picks. Pretty much always can come around with, you know, last pick being the only thing that really solidifies where people are being allocated. Let's see what Impulse try and combine here with their Braum and Corki.
Well, hovering over for now, not a lot of time left, and it's going to be Azir plus Nautilus. So actually Poppy so far being left on the table, and things still going for the Nautilus top anyway. We'll see what his matchup ends up being. No big surprise that Azir is the pickup here, but actually I feel like we've seen more Azir in NA. Maybe I'm actually forgetting that we haven't seen him at all. I feel like I've seen him this split, but maybe I've just been watching so much Challenger and whatnot that we've seen him regardless.
Well, certainly this week, huge priority on Azir across the world in both bans and early picks. We'll see if Impulse can actually hold that line, though. As you said, you know, Trundle and with all the extra speed on this Renegades team, see if they can work their way around the wall of soldiers. Nautilus actually kind of like him as a tank since his shield is a large part of his durability and you can't really affect his shield with Trundle.
This is nice. Okay, so the last pick comes through for Varus mid, which I like actually a hell of a lot here for Renegades. Way back when Azir was much more common last year, the typical counter pick was a poke mid like AP, Kog'Maw, or Corki, or Varus. And Varus coming back here as the only one of these that are still considered strong and available to be drafted here.
Yeah, the other thing is that specifically long-range poke that's physical is very good against Azir because Azir really doesn't want to build an early Zhonya's. It would definitely reduce a lot of his damage and kind of mess up his build path. So the long-range arrows, if you hit just a single Varus Q onto Azir in lane, he has to chug through all his potions, you know, and then the subsequent Q would actually earn you an objective sometimes. So we'll see if Azir takes some extra armor runes. So I'll try and keep tabs on that. What he tries to do to mitigate this poke. The other thing you can do is go more move speed and try and just rely on your dodging skills as well.
Russia Ludens get boots too, hope to run around and get away from Russia 3,000 gold item in Ludens Echo. Okay. Either way, guys, we're getting ourselves ready to get into the game, and you guys at home, let us know who you think is going to win this one. Tweet at LOL Esports with hashtag TIPWin or hashtag RENWin for Team Impulse or Renegades here. Day 1, Game 1 of Week 9 of the North American LCS. Who is it going to be moving up in the standings? Renegades hoping to reach as high as 8th. Impulse could get into 7th and away from that promotion relegation tournament. This game is going to mean a lot for both these squads. Here we go. Who's it going to be?
All right, let's see. Nothing really out of the ordinary as far as the openings here from anyone either. Corruption Potion here for Varus in the mid lane. really just wants to get through the early phase when Lee Sin provides a lot of pressure. A couple of levels in queue, and he should be able to see us from afar just fine. Track if Crumbs is able to keep down Proxen. Proxen is one of the junglers that likes to go for a lot of early dives. All right, Freeze and Mash getting right into it, though.
But here comes Hako. The Pillar Ignite is on Flash and heal burned by Mash. And Freeze is still going to kill him.
Sivir is actually so good in these early skirmishes. If she gets the health advantage because of the passive, adding move speed. Passive is huge in level 1 fights. And that allows you to chase him down. Mash going to claim first blood. They did use the Flash and Ignite in exchange for the double summoners of Mash. But that is a huge, huge start for Renegades. We talked about their early game. Not wasting any time there.
Wow.
Off to the early lead. And Impulse have had notoriously bad early games as far as pretty much the entire season.
They are the worst early game team, to my knowledge, statistically here in North America. And that trend...
It still holds true.
Yeah, looks like it'll continue when you give up first blood at 1 minute. So we'll watch the rest of these matchups. Mash lost both summoners. Renegades lost 1 on each of their players. He died faster, but the Krugs can still happen. He and Gate will knock down those and catch back up and lane as fast as they can. Sivir Trundle, not actually very fast at killing Gromp. Keep in mind that Trundle learned Pillar, so their clear is quite slow. Took him 13 seconds to knock that one down.
Yeah, we'll take a look at these melees, see if they get in range for the experience. Tags them.
Wow.
That's fine. Level 2. So Renegades able to get the Gromp down in time, even with Pillar Trundle. So very, very good early start for them. You can already see the zoning begin. Mash and Gate trying to give them a little respect. Up in top lane as well, I think Seraph will also be doing a similar thing in the early game. So that means pushing lanes for Crumbs on both side lanes. The mid lane is getting shoved in, but gives a lot of freedom to the Elise.
Pillar up onto Mash. Gate blocks the damage, and they can go right in onto Freeze. Typically, Sivir players will learn Spell Shield at level 2. This is not the case here, as you've learned Boomerang Blade plus Ricochet. And if Impulse identify that, they can push on the flashless Sivir, who has no Spell Shield, and get a gank. Lee Sin's on the bot side of the jungle.
Yeah, they do have a pink ward for themselves as well, and ganking a lane like that got first blood is a little bit scary. If you walk by a brush that Elise is in as Lee Sin, and Elise is the one that gets the jump in the Fog of War and in that early jungle fight, she can get a huge burst and turn that around.
Just keep in mind that the gold went onto Hakuho, so the first blood advantage was a Ruby Crystal and no damage for Freeze. The lane is essentially equal as long as the gank actually comes through.
Yeah, a lot of vision here by Crumbs to protect the flashless Sivir.
Yeah, very smart of him to get that one down.
And Proxen not even going to go for it.
Nice Pillar. 100 mana out of Mash for that.
Yeah. The mini game right now, just trying to mess with Corki while he tries the last hit. Save any sort of displacements for when a minion is low. And Ninja getting that hit in with the Corruption Potion ticking. Always remember to start that channeling as you go for the trade, not after. He should also be hovering on the bottom side since that's where Crumbs spent his early time, but Proxen's already here in time. Crumbs gonna walk right into it.
Level advantage for Proxen, goes in on the mid lane, Ward hops in after missing the Q. Damage on a Ninja, pops the damage. Summoner heal used, Flash still up. Now Proxen taking a lot of damage, and he's gonna have to flash away from Cocoon. If Proxen just Ward hopped into the first place, he would have been able to get much more damage down. Freeze Spell Shield's late. Does not have the reflex to block the Braum Q, takes some damage. The Pillar buys time.
That was actually surprising. You know, on Tournament Realm, we usually expect any sort of projectile like that with that long of a travel time to be spell shielded. There's nothing else he really wants to spell shield.
Everything else
because
is Telegraph.
Boss Bomb is even longer. Talk about travel times. You should never get hit by that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I actually do want to go over the mid lane interaction because I really like how Ninja was so patient. And he used the heal summoner. Not only is it a lower cooldown, but it actually gives you something that you can use in lane, the health you get to keep. Saving the flash is the most important thing for repeat ganks. And the heal health, you know, he actually gets to stay in lane a little bit longer and try and CS. That being said, early gank, you know, did accomplish what he wanted. There's a pretty sizable CS lead here for Pyrian in the mid lane. He had that going just in the 1 versus 1 a little bit as well, but the gank really ballooned that and forced him back off that last wave. So Ninja gonna try and catch back up here.
He'll try best he can. 25 to 40 in minions, though, as Pyrian walks right back in with a nice smattering of items. He's going for the first item Nashor's 2.
Yep. So Ninja, since he was only able to get tier, he has almost no combat stats with all consumables and a tier. I consider that actually no combat stats.
Actually none.
So he's just going to try and snipe some minions nowadays.
We'll see what he can do. Of course, Pyrian has flash. There's the Q and lands on a freeze who spell shields the damage out of it on the backside, and then, has to hop right back away to gate. A flashless Lee Sin, not the scariest champion. Mash low on health anyway.
Yeah.
And all the whittling down that Renegades have done have prevented that gank from actually working, because you could flash follow and land an exhaust and probably.
It was actually a really ill-advised gank there, because the minion wave being pushed in is one that that's one of the advantages. Okay, Crumb's not going to be able to find the ward in time. Get there. Elise does have the auto attack reset, and
he has, I think, no issues with this. There we go.
The other thing about that gank, not only is it the minion wave placement, your AD carry doesn't want to give up those last.
Damage on the backside. Gate blocking what he can, so Mash not taking too much damage. Goes in for the stun at a Hakuho, and then jumps right back out. Good use of cooldowns. Valkyrie jump towards it with Braum. But still advantage to Renegades.
Elise can dive this.
Cocoons, Gate. Gate has all summoners, so does Mash. They know they have heal. They can bait with this. There's the heal popped. Crumbs runs. One hit from a stun. Has to run away. Hakuho out of mana.
Yeah, I don't.
Whoa, that was an unnecessary flash.
Should have known that Cocoon was already down, because he just used the Cocoon, and this is early on in the game. He has no cooldown reduction. It is a level 1 Cocoon. Will not be back up that early, but a panic flash there. And Mash again burning both summoners. He had those back up though to use, so pretty much on cooldown, all summoners being used for Mash, and that's going to be the Dragon.
Okay, so Dragon's going to go over that. Will, however, delay the Renegade's opportunity to recall easily. Porky Braum will be first to wave. They can push and kind of manipulate the wave. But here on the top side, easy stun onto the Lulu. Q, R, Q, plenty of damage. Flash follow, and Seraph goes down. Did not have mana to ult. Gets a trade kill for that one.
Yeah, the thing is, he did get his auto off, so he does get kill credit for the money. No experience.
But yeah, gets 300 gold he wouldn't have otherwise.
But yeah, so that, well, I was going to say, everybody flashes when Nautilus ult is already on them to try and get under turret. Trying to go over it in my head to see if he would have been able to save it after it hits and then flash an ability to get under there later. But anyways, he's happy with getting that counter kill as far as the gold is. Plus, he's already up in CS, and the wave is in a perfect place for him. So that's actually fine for Seraph. He does not really care about this. Let's see here. Sometimes, very rarely though, when Nautilus ults you like this, you can walk up and let it hit you early so that you take the knockup before the other person is there and then try and flash an ability from the other person. But, that's largely theoretical, and he's happy with how that worked out. Because, again, the minion wave was right in front of his turret. It actually did not get pushed into it, so Seraph got to teleport back to the lane and get a large number of minions, keep his CS lead. Yeah, fine in gold and experience right now. The only thing is that now there is a teleport advantage for Impulse, and maybe they try and use Nautilus teleporting in bottom lane with this bottom lane constantly shoved up. But that would really be the only place, because you can't make any sort of teleport plays in mid lane. There's no way Varus is ever going to shove up mid or something like that. It could be a skirmish, maybe in the jungle, but bottom lane also, look at this. They're actually spending money on double pink wards to keep both side brush clear of wards. Package.
Really solid.
Itching to use that package.
Yep. There we go. There's that defensive pink ward, and of course Renegade's going to keep that continually pushed up. And we'll see if there's ever a chance for a TP flank to come in then from Impulse. Should be pretty easy to get away. 30 seconds less now, actually, on the Nautilus ulti until that comes back up. Maybe he will teleport. You mentioned that TP advantage. Package on. Looks like it's going to time out, and he's going to find nothing to do with this one. Poke towards Pyrian, who doesn't get tagged.
Yeah, shorts it a little bit there. Proxy going again, down bottom. Here we go.
Here's the attempted play, plenty of damage. Hakuho will get stunned. Here's the TP in from Nautilus. Flash for the auto attack, taking the wall. Chain stuns everywhere, and that should be the kill into Trundle. Another hit will do it. Gate gets the kill, but he's stuck under turret. Flash the way to stay alive, and Fang TPs to keep Crumbs away, who flashes away from the chance of getting ulted.
So they did convert on the teleport advantage. It was really close, though, and they just barely got it. Let's see what Seraph answers with, because now he's left alone in topside. So Seraph has a big experience advantage, and he's just taking down this turret, clearing out the minion waves. We'll see how quickly Fang can get back there. Fang did get some kill credit early on. What was that?
Yeah, that was kill on Seraph.
No,
Fang only.
Yeah, that was from Seraph. The kill
zoned away
on the dive there actually went to Gate, so not quite sure if we're on that one.
I think the overall play was not worth. TP is down. Yes, you got a single kill, but Seraph denied, I think, 2 full waves of minions that he got himself, which is 300 gold in its own right.
Plus, because it's shoved up, they'll be able to take this Rift Herald. I think they should give that one over to Crumbs. Lulu not the best user of it. There we go.
Yeah. What, Crumbs? There you go.
It's tricky sometimes. No, it's not.
No, it's really not. You wait around a little bit.
I mean,
to be fair, I've got some did you knows wrong about that buff, so.
Yes. Have multiple.
Multiple.
And Crumbs is the guy who died 2v1 to Rift Herald.
That's true.
It's been tricky for them. Right now, though, Renegades, they haven't really been able to keep a hold on the early gold lead. Maybe this pick out here.
Okay. Able to jump away to his Pinkwood. He's going to be okay. But yeah, mid lane under fire now. Renegades have pulled their team up, and looks like a lot of damage going to be dealt to that mid lane outer turret as Fang walks in from the side. They know that Nautilus is coming with ultimate. Ninja taking a whole lot of damage. Flash, that only means the rest of his team gets knocked up. A 3-man hit there, into the stun, into the kill. And now Impulse holding a kill lead this game, 3-2.
Yeah, so before we complimented Ninja on his stingy use of the flash, you know, saving it last time, but this time it ends up costing them big, and they can actually go for this dive.
You're looking for even more. The flash into the knockback. Shurima shovel in from Pyrian. Feeling good about that one, knocking him in. Quick kill into support. Now 4 kills to 2, and mid lane outer going down.
This is a huge amount of pressure for Impulse. They're going to get this turret as well. Bottom lane is pushing, so technically Freeze is getting some extra minions right now and might get some damage on the bottom turret, but that is a huge play for Impulse. They've actually taken a pretty big lead here.
Yeah.
600 gold swung back in their favor, whereas Renegades started out with such a strong start with the first blood.
Certainly here. Impulse are down in farm overall, but the gold lead is well earned by them by a couple of nice pushes and a couple of nice pickoffs.
Yeah, a lot of kills mostly for them. Let's see here. So, not flashing this time around. Well, might have died anyways as Nos is coming in, but the dive does work out for Impulse. And then they continue it here. I don't know what 0 or 10% mana Elise and a Trundle are going to do sticking at this tower. And Hakuo pays the price right there.
Yeah.
Not a lot you can accomplish. We've actually seen that mistake several times of teams just kind of leaving stragglers around the turret as the turret is going to go down almost 100% anyway. And it does cost Renegades here. Trying to answer back though. Gold has evened up.
Pushing toward the mid lane, gate blocking a lot of Qs here, but something plenty of damage. He wait for his team to show up, but they don't show up in time. He goes down. The turret's going to go as well. Yes, it will. Renegades. All right, buzzing that push quite nicely.
So the exact same scenario here. You know, Renegades pick off a support kill and take the mid turret.
Yep.
Swing it back in their favor. They can actually take this dragon as well. There's no vision for Impulse, but Crumbs actually went for the top side, taking his red buff instead. They don't value the dragon stacking, I guess, this game, even though it's a pretty quick pace that they would have been able to have.
Well, they have teleport from Seraph. Maybe they can reset after the push and come back down. There is something to be said for if you blow a lot of your cooldowns, you might want to heal back up, get your health and mana bars filled once again, and maybe they go for it after they come back and onto the map. It's always a tricky dance if you're not like actively watching everyone's current gold. Like you're like, oh, but they get dragon off this, but it's like, but we're on 2,000 gold. We want to buy, and sometimes you sneak dragons because of that, and it's
true.
It's always hard to look at sometimes.
It's just that looking at the counterplay that was available to Impulse, there wasn't a lot of it for Dragon there. So
true.
We'll see though. Renegade's just going to shove this bottom lane. They've got all the outer turrets down now. A lot of territory to work with, and the vision control is there as well. So almost no wards here for Impulse so far.
Yeah, you got to feel pretty good about Renegade's ward control overall. They got 2 deep into the jungle. Yeah, no deep wards at all from Impulse, despite the fact they've got a Sight Stone, well, Smite Stone Lee Sin, who can get some of those deeper wards down. Going Hex Drinker next for himself, so Proxen doing pretty much the Dardoch build at that point. Yeah. I think Dardoch goes Chilling Smite Sight Stone, but still, cooldown Boots Lee Sin being kind of the new thing, actually, which I find interesting. And he will look for the backwards play on Dragon. Problem is, there's a ward spotting this option.
They're going to back
get
off
away.
This.
He can get away. It's really low risk.
Yeah, that was just a check. But really, it's just going to leash it for them. Can he get back in for the steal? He wants to steal. He has flash.
Oh, that's a really good QQ, though. That will mean the fight comes in, but still, Proxen wants to fight. Package separates the team. Here comes the engage. But what a good chain of corruption out from Varus's
The Varus disengage here, and Sivir speed boost. They're able to get out. There's their second dragon.
What? Hit Q a little bit too early.
Yeah.
It's fine now.
Backed off. All right, so Seraph not having to use his teleport and goes right back up the top lane. So Renegades feeling pretty good about this scenario. They can just wave clear in the mid and bottom lanes and let Seraph get a CS lead. Let's see if they end up calling him down for this. I don't think they should, because there's no way Ninja can come and have a big impact. Yeah, they're just going to give it up. Or they
Anchor on a Crumbs, plenty of damage. The knockup doesn't get repelled either. He's got to try to run, but how can he? Jumps in, gives the kill over to Ash.
Seraph teleported. That's not good.
Oh.
Renegades, they ended up using more than they had to there.
Flank onto Ninja, possibly.
I think the call should have been, though, to completely vacate the area on bottom side and just give it up. Let Seraph shove top side, because someone
Definitely
would have
agree.
to recall to deal with that, and Feng did not have teleport available. But lingering a little too long in their own jungle there for Renegades, give another kill back, and the turret ends up going down anyway. Plus teleport burned.
Well, okay, Proxen gets over the wall, looking for the play into Hakuho. I don't know if he had wards to do a ward hop into a flash kick, but doesn't go for it either way. The Trundle will stay alive.
Meanwhile, now they return their sights towards that top side. That, because Seraph left it, was building up a pretty big minion wave and sort of slow pushing. They'll get some damage on it. I don't know if they'll be able to do much more than that, though.
Feng is threatening enough in this Nautilus to at least buy time, and they will not keep pushing. But top lane tier 2 is down to half HP. Renegades can revisit that later. Gate and Proxen seeing that Freeze and Hakuho have walked back into the lane, and okay, it's the three of them waiting around. Freeze walks right back in, pops the ulti. Great dodge on the Sonic Wave. And he's gonna keep jumping forward, looking for the hit on Hakuho. Q is gonna land onto Freeze. No kill to pick up there, and on the backside, Crumbs and Seraph able to grab another Rift Herald for themselves. No major losses bot side. Yes, 3 summoners were burned, but still not too bad overall. Renegades get away with Rift Herald.
Yeah, those could cost them in team fights, though, because Pyrion is building towards the Zonias that we talked about against his team. So while you don't usually see that as a really early item on Azir, it does allow him to go for those insect plays with the Azir drifting and try and get both AD carries knocked back into the enemy team. Freeze can try and spell shield it. I think it lasts long enough for the whole wall to go through. Sometimes you linger a little bit too long.
I don't think it'll stop the spell, so like it'll still be out in the world.
Back, just won't take the hit.
You can be pushed back. I don't know the exact mechanics because I haven't really played a lot of Sivir since Azir came back into favor and vice versa. I know Braum will just straight block the ball and it stops.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we'll see it this game.
Yeah.
Because with Pyrion building into his Zonias, he has the opportunity to be a playmaker for the team, be that frontline Azir to go start it off and knock people back, especially against a double AD team. Here comes Renegades, though, with the
pushing a bot lane with the Rift Herald buff, helping quite a bit. Very low on this turret, and yeah, Freeze goes in, then says, well, there's an Azir there. Maybe I'll back off. Nice anchor on his Seraph, plenty of damage there. The knockout comes through as well. Here they have the rest of the damage. He's trying, has to jump away, knocks him back. Crumbs running, and Freeze pops Spell Shield now to block nothing. Crumbs will die yet again. 1, 2, and 0 on him. Renegades running with On the Hunt. And they're on the hunt for some safety.
Yep, everybody run away. Now, there's not much as far as objectives for Impulse to take off of that kill, but it's still a worthwhile kill, and they can try and push with this wave. Crumbs will be back up pretty quickly, though, and Renegades can try and just huddle at this turret and wave clear. Seraph burned a lot in that last fight, though, getting caught out there. Nice hook from Fang to start it off. Impulse going to try and take this before everyone comes back from the base. Crumbs up just now. They've got him.
Oh, the play on the Freeze. He's gone already. The first kill picked up thanks to a Prime ulti helping out that one, getting the kill credit on top. This turret now pretty overwhelmed here. The team's still coming to defend the Renegades. Lighting off the line. Pyrion's in a dangerous spot. Gets chunked down. Ninja gets the kill. Turret is still dead. 4v4. Fang buying time in the front lines, but Impulse have to run. Anchor has to try to stay safe. Root onto Hakuho. Nearly goes down. Gets a wild growth and stays up. Mash still full health. Can just belt out damage, but so can Ninja. And Fang will die. 2 kills picked up now for Renegades. Make that a third as Crumbs knocks down Gate. And now Mash having to run. Proxen hiding away from these arrows as best he can. Ninja on the chase. Running forward in plain sight. Lee Sin.
Take it.
Spear to the face. Ninja takes him out.
Better to die in the air, traveling for a kick, I think, than take that arrow to the face. All right, but yeah, Trundle Lulu really good at chasing people down, so Renegade's able to keep up that chase after Pyrian pinned himself under the turret. Couldn't dodge anything.
Yep.
Got hit with Glitter Lance as well as the Varus Q, and did not have his Zhonya's quite completed for that fight either. He actually buys the Giant's Belt. I think that was a recent purchase because he had extra gold instead of completing his Zhonya's.
Yeah, the combined on Zhonya's is like
it's really
1150, I think.
They did get an increase, but I think it's still fairly cheap. All right, so here it is, though. Pretty big extension by Impulse, looking for those kills. And Pyrian under the turret right now, a little bit slowed, and the Trundle Pyro from Hakuho.
Yeah,
trapped both of them, allowing Seraph and Ninja to easily land skill shots.
Yep.
Here's the chase, though. Whenever you have Lulu speeding people up on the front line and Trundle Pillars being spammed, so difficult to disengage. Nice little ultimate as well. And Crumbs on the front line here actually does a good job keeping things up. Gets that repel off into the execution queue. Good fight,
Dragon picked up. Corki packed into the back line. And having to run, he gets whimsied. Gate blocks the damage. And wow, Crumbs sitting on top of the package, taking plenty of punishment. Seraph pulled in the front lines by Fang, but look at the damage coming out of Freeze's Sivir. Impulse have to run. Beautiful pillar again. Pyrian goes down. Ninja with the snipe on a rampage now, feeling great. Renegades taking over the mid game.
All right, let's see if they can actually turn that into a turret, because the minion wave is really far off. So there's no way they can get it without the minion wave. They can do a couple of cheeky auto attacks. Sivir with the red buff.
And they're going to try again for this one. Pyrian, when he respawns, will have Rylays. He went arm guard into straight Rylays in this build. Now into the mid lane goes Renegades. They will knock that one down pretty cleanly. 5v4, no chance to get away.
This game, Freak, has just been almost all about people dying at turrets, going for these turrets with weak defenders.
Yeah.
Somebody getting killed that turns itself into another turret push, and when someone else gets caught at the turret trying to defend it, and the other team strikes back with pretty much the exact same plays. So we'll see who dies next, who gets picked next, and who defends and overstays at a dying turret. All right, let's take a look at this one, though, because Renegades can run straight down. And it actually started off here with the package. Mash gets 4 people tagged with the damage. And then Gate jumps in with the Unbreakable to block the follow-up.
Wow.
But that Q from Ninja threads the needle back there and kind of takes Mash. Oh, Mash also flashed, so he was just out of the fight at this point. Then Crumbs with the Cocoon and the pillar there from Hakuho. Pyrian just gets isolated and annihilated.
Yeah. A 5-man Varus ult, too. He just kept the team in place for a good 2
another
seconds.
dying turret, Freak. Another couple kills.
Look for the dive on a Hakuho. Freeze will spell shield E. Still get kicked back, though. Nearly has enough damage, but the rocket shield coming out from Crumbs keeps Freeze alive. So Crumbs saves his life. Ninja rejoining the team soon. Knocked back on a Trundle, but he's one of the tanky members on the team now. Prox is the wrong side of the fight. Sniped down. Ninja is unstoppable. And Impulse have realized that their dive did not work here. They're running and trying not to give away any more kills, but it's going to happen anyway. Gate, next one to go down. A double kill for Ninja, who just keeps racking up points in the kill column. Rene's got to feel good about the number of fantasy points getting out of this game, as they're going to lock down their 4th kill of this fight. Mash will live, but it doesn't even matter. So much slaughter for Renegades.
Renegades do not want to end the season in last place, and they're fighting their way out of it right now. This is going to be a Baron for sure for them. Not even a package for Mash to try and get across there for some sort of miracle, so.
Nope, no chance for a steal. This will be the Baron for Renegades. Already 6,000 gold lead. That will go up even farther very soon.
Yep, and this is the perfect turn here for Renegades. Now that they have Baron buff, they can slow the game down to their pace, siege up, try and use their poke that they want to go for. All right, so let's look at another tower dive. 2-man defense originally, but the teleport comes in, and you can see Varus on the minimap right now roaming up. So Renegades is trying to disengage until he gets there. They do a good job. Freeze is able to disengage. And then Proxy goes for the 1v1 with the mid laner here and pretty low.
Yeah.
Seraph, all he does is throw a Glitter Lance and a shield over the wall. Ninja easily able to take that 1 versus 1. And since they had already dove past the turret, it makes the retreat really difficult for Impulse. Pretty much everybody getting picked up here, as Mash is the only one to escape with his life. And again, Trundle and Lulu make it so the scenarios that they find themselves in, where it's an overdive and they want to chase afterwards, it makes it really easy to clean up a bunch of extra kills with the pillars and constant speed buff from Lulu. See what they do with the Baron buff, though. Another tower going down for themselves. 6 kills now onto Ninja as well, so the poke really starting to hurt as he gets his transformation as well. Even the autos.
Really solid attack damage core for him. Yomu's finished Muramana, and the does not suck.
The poke here onto Squishies, who have not built armor. He's got 30 flat pen just from those 2 items.
Yep.
If you can check for the runes as well, he might have even more. That's really going to chunk back
42 flat, 7% as well. He's going to just crush Squishies here. Mash, for example, sitting only on 67. Really does true damage to him.
Yeah, see period there, taking a pretty big chunk. Still hasn't completed the zone yet.
Ooh, big play into the front lines. It's a cluster in the front, and it's a shutdown on a Ninja that is huge. Proxen stays alive with a Moss Shield. Another knock-up onto Hakuho. The Azir still belting out damage. Trundle is only so durable. Has to flash to stay alive. Anchor hits the wall. Fang,
Sivir though! Late game
did not fight off what he wanted. Freeze gets Azir soldiers on the backside. Just barely survives.
Proxen is went back in for that shield, Lee Sin safeguard shield, just to give one of his teammates, even though he only had 50 HP left himself.
Wow. 500 total health remaining basically on both teams combined.
If that Ricochet had crit, he would have died. But does not go down. Everyone stays alive for Impulse, and they grab that kill for themselves. Let's take a look at how it happened here. Too close to the bush.
What a play.
Proxen goes in for the kick. Really nice kick right there. And they're able to get the following knockup. So Ninja pretty much immediately going down, even with all the help from Lulu and the rest of the squad. Then we see the exhaust on Freeze right now, so they have to disengage it. Can't really answer damage right there. But Hakuho as a support Trundle, so tanky. Stealing stats right there. Nice Glitter Lance actually got 3.
He crit twice at least.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think Static Shiv is easily way better than Rapid Fire Cannon on Sivir. If he had it, that was actually a triple kill. I'm pretty sure. They would have just died to Static Shiv crit.
All right, Dragon comes down. Dragon goes down.
Yeah, easy pick up there. Renegades.
Don't go for that, buddy.
Third for them. Impulse, of course, did get 1 Dragon themselves. That was a good 7 minutes ago, but at least the stats are there, and they're already here on the mid lane. Yeah, and they've cut off the move here. This
also,
is not
they have
easy.
package to use in the jungle.
Will they cut off? They could cut off Ninja right here, but they don't go in for it. Instead, they retreat. I don't think they need to do that. As the TP comes in now, Fang will join the roster. Crumbs in the front line. He dove into an Azir turret.
They got him again!
It's a 1-for-1 to the front line. Proxen goes down. Another trade, though. Hakuho now holding up. He's so tanky, and Fang is not. Crits come out from Sivir, but he's going to stay alive. The team running away. A 2-4-2, just barely. Hakuho is ridiculously durable on this Trundle. Anchor misses Seraph. Fang is still tanky.
They messed up their turn here, and Fang got slowed.
But look at the damage Pyrion can put out from
Sivir's not with him, so I don't think you keep up that chase. Yeah, if Sivir's there, maybe it's a different story, and you try and go for another pillar to chase that down, but not the case here. And it really is about Sivir in these team fights, because normally what you want versus a poke comp like that is a single tank to take the skill shots. Let's take a look at how it happened now. Chain of Corruption, locking Gate in here. But Renegades honestly go a little deep there with Crumbs, using his repel offensively and having nothing left for the disengage. Proxen went for the Lee Sin play on the Ninja again and trades his life. But look at the ricochets from Sivir. Usually when you're against a Pokemon, you want your one big tank to stand in front and take most of the hits. But the ricochet just bounced right back off him and whittle the back line down. You'll notice every time we see these team fights going over 15 seconds or so even, the backline's already at half health or even less for Impulse because of the ricochets.
The most important thing is Gate staying alive and having cooldown reduction, because his Unbreakable Shield will full block.
But he's been on the front line using that Unbreakable really when someone gets caught out. The cooldown's used really early. Oh, Seraph though!
Running away, will dodge the skill shot, just barely flashing, ulting, running for his dear life. Level 15 on Zlulu. Does get out. Death Cap on makes him really high ability power, and Proxen finds him. Oh no! Board hop, one more hit! Q's up! Oh no! Oh, that is so disheartening.
All right, that's actually going to be mid-turret going down here. Seraph does have teleport, so he's got home guard boost as well. Impulse has to be careful about over-chasing this. Remember what happens when you over-chase this team in a long lane. And they do not do it. So.
5-man push. That's the play for Renegades. Couldn't be bothered to wait for the home guard boost. Has the TP in right now. This is the play. All 5 members alive for both sides. Most ultis are available, but not all of them here. Go taking damage, but down goes the inhibitor. Renegades continue to claw their way forward. 7,000 gold lead at 30 minutes. That's solid. They've got the mid-inhibitor down. And they're going to have ward control to make sure this Baron goes to them. You look at the vision, and Renegades have really solid wards that cover Impulse's road into that side of the map. So baits are going to work, and they can prevent warding as well.
Yep, taking down the mid lane here with the middle inhibitor is huge for them. They do have 3 dragons as well. So next neutral directive when Baron does come back up, they'll have a lot of extra pressure here. Just trying to defend these pink wards actually right now. Seraph going to get his split push on, even though he doesn't have teleport. Maybe Impulse try and take advantage of this opening, but Impulse actually really looking for some sort of pick. Uh-oh. Great pillar there. Disengaged from Hakuho. Yep. Seraph, it actually buys Seraph time to walk back up. So that small opening where Seraph is on the bottom side, and yeah, maybe Impulse try and catch somebody and burn them down as quickly as possible before Seraph gets there. Closes pretty quickly, and Renegades now don't have to take any more chances.
No, warning's going to be interesting because Renegades only have 2 sweepers, one on Crumbs, one on Hakuho. And so getting control of the Raptor buff for the Smite, I think, is actually pretty important. Because otherwise they cannot really faithfully clear all of Impulse's wards in the pit.
Yeah, it is still only 30 minutes, so everyone hasn't maxed out. So there is room for pink wards for almost everybody, save for Ninja. And, Seraph, I would say, probably sell that Doran's ring, and they could get a pink ward, stock up on a bunch of pink wards and do it the old-fashioned way. Let's see here, though. They're trying to use mid-lane pressure to gain control of the jungle. This is mostly a warding excursion.
Yeah, something Krepa always used to say was, when you get in the late game, selling, you should always sell a Doran's for a pink ward. It's just so much more important, those little stats. And he complained his 80 carries wouldn't do it. It's like a 70 doesn't matter. The pink ward's worth so much, and I agree right here. Vision going to be very important, but right now it's just the siege for Renegades. Dragon 4 up in a minute. Baron alive now. Minions are here already. Gate blocks basically no damage at all with the Unbreakable.
Renegades just have to buy time here.
Cocoon nearly gets Fang. He's tanking, but in comes Lee Sin. He gets the kick on a Ninja, who stays alive anyway. Metal ulti in. Finally, the kill comes through. 1 for 1. Gate blocks some ricochet damage. Hakuho at half, but he's still so tanky with that Nautilus ulti on himself. A knockback from Azir. It's a 2 for 1 in favor. Renegades. Freeze is in, and he's getting everybody. A double kill for himself. 3 to 2 the fight so far as Hakuho finally died.
In the house. That Sibber Lulu. Really extraordinary here, 33 minutes in, and even though Ninja gets kicked and immediately killed, it looks like Renegades are pushing towards the victory screen.
This is defensible, though. It's a 2v3 with a Nexus turret still alive. They should have the chance. 15 seconds on Lee Sin. Package puts Seraph towards the front line. Fang pulls him in. He's very tanky, and Seraph is not. They're going for the next. That is so risky. Freeze will lose a lot of health. Mash gets the kill. He gets stunned by Crumbs, turns back around, and they're gonna defend it. Crumbs living or not doesn't matter, because at least the Nexus is alive.
It matters in Crumbs' eyes. I'm pretty sure. No, Frick. Crumbs' life means nothing to you.
It means nothing to me.
You heartless man.
Crumbs is dead to me.
Well, to me, he's alive. And stealing away the red buff. All right, let's see. He can also get the dragon, so. Dragon number 4, not totally insignificant. And Renegades will happily take that one as well.
Okay, I rescind my doesn't matter because they get dragon and a red buff off of Crumbs living. I take it all back. I'm sorry, Crumbs. I didn't mean it. 5, 3, and 10.
That's all right.
Solid by
Crumbs knows who his real friends are now. Everyone but Freak. All right,
and
let's take a look.
All of Reddit.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Yeah, well, let's take a look at how they opt to go for this Nexus. Because I thought they could just focus down on Mash here, but they go back across. Look at that. Freeze walks back in for those 2 Nexus hits. He burns again on the package. The package damage should not be underestimated. Both Crumbs and Freeze disregarded the package there, walked back over it for a couple more ticks, and that is what ends up costing them Freeze's life. Even though, Crumbs is able to escape with his own, burning his flash there, you really got to respect the zone there from the package late game.
I also just learned that the actual knockback and package is not blocked by Spell Shield.
Nope.
Freeze Spell Shield, nothing happened. I didn't know that. Now I do. So does everyone else now.
Prepping another Did You Know for when we have different viewers.
Yeah, exactly. Tomorrow, I'm going to be here with Jat. I'm going to be like, Jat, did you know?
He's watching us as well. All right. See if Renegades can close this out, though, because they have had many games with a lead, but late games sometimes cannot convert. This Lulu buffed Sivir, though, should help out a lot with their end game.
Yeah, Lord Dominic's in as well. It's going to be pretty nice for them. Fang working towards the Zerat portal.
Ninja really needs to watch himself here because Proxon's been able to find his way into the back line many times. Crumbs, though, on the front line.
A lot of slows, maybe a stun soon. Trying to land some auto attacks and knock up onto multiple members in the back line. Sarah's going to tank the ulti in from Nautilus, but Nautilus is dead himself. A multi-man chain of corruption gives the room for Freeze to go in. A nice knockback by Azir, but his team is already dead. Period. The last man standing alone. The Emperor of Shurima by himself, and his subjects have died. So has he himself. A quadra kill for Ninja. There's a new sheriff in town. It's Ninja himself.
Where does Varus hail from?
He is Ionian and corrupted by... I forget.
Well, he should be happy, and wherever he's from, they should be proud because they're going to claim a Nexus off of that. Inhibitor goes down, and Renegades look to upset Impulse here.
They will do it. Renegades with a solid victory. Ninja in the mid lane, 11, 4, and 7. He has been a godsend for this roster. A consistent mid laner who's able to do it all. Zillion, Lissandra, Varus, you name it. Sarah solid on the Lulu as well. And Renegades now improved to 4 wins. That is the number of wins Dignitas has, and is now 1 game behind Impulse.